Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is sort of a flip through and some more ideas for this journal that I'm making for Becky. If she says she wants this, then this journal is spoken for. I was thinking that I would do like another one of those live craft with me videos, but I have a bit of a cough, so we'll see how it goes. It might have to be edited or we'll just see what happens. I put some stuff together here because I wanted to do a live video and not edit it. I stamped in advance in the journal and here because I use VersaFine and it takes a long time to dry. So when I think about crafting with you, there are some tricks. I stamp very often, then leave things out to dry and then wander away and microwave my coffee or do something else, and then I edit that out. And I literally don't even turn off the camera. I just walk away. So I did make some changes to get ready for this. But welcome. This is the third in a series, and I'll link down below. The cover is made from 2 pieces of paper. Then I have this pocket here that was from some really fun things that our friend Mary gave me. And then I've put a bunch of journaling cards in. Now, I have a box of stuff here that could decorate the pages or the journaling cards, or just like I always say, if you get a journal from me and you don't like it, take all the journaling cards out, move them around, throw them away, whatever. Make it your own. So don't get stuck with anything. So I have tea-dyed, tea or coffee, who knows about me. And then look at this. I really like how this page turned out. This is a little paper bag that I've stamped on, and I used these tree branches, honestly, just because they were already out. I'd been using them on that tree and bird video. Then I used some postage stamps, and this was a tag. Well, that's the trick with unedited, right? But it was a long tag, and this isn't a real trendy journal. We were trying to make it more vintage, so I didn't want to have a bunch of tags. And also I didn't want objects that looked exactly the same, so I trimmed it down. I think it said Merry Christmas under it, and you'll see that I already have some of those. Then I went through my stash, and this was just an envelope that I'd made out of vintage paper, so she could put her journaling in there, or she could move that envelope to a different page, glue it down, and just put her journaling in this pocket. Then there's another little envelope here with a Christmas stamp and a side pocket right there. And plaid isn't really my thing, but I loved it once I layered some stuff off of it and kind of toned it down a little. Then here I have one of these cards that I had a pack of, and I like that. And then the green plaid with the red plaid, I like that. So we have another journaling card. And again, she could take this and maybe glue it right here, and then it pops open, and then a different journaling card there. However she wants to do it. And I'll show you some of the stuff I've put together for this. This, I think, is for the cover, but I'm not sure. We'll talk about it. So in this box, and I'll put these as add-ons when I mail the journal, I have stamped some images that I think would work for vintage images for this. And some of these are already in the book, but maybe she wants to make an ephemera piece for something else. Or sometimes, even though I've stamped on a page, I layer over it if I change my mind or I thought it was too boring or I wanted a pocket there. So give her some options. Look how this one turned out. I just took the card and stamped on it. The back of it is the packaging for another collection, so she might want to use this as a pocket and decorate the rest of it. Then I have numbers for December daily. I did not glue these down for a couple of reasons. A, I don't always want one page for one journal when I'm doing it, for each day. And these are a little bit like country primitive. She might say, no, I don't like those. Right? She might not want them in here. But if she likes them, they'd be great to decorate the pocket right here. You could put a little something else next to it, and then she'd have her numbers. And I'll show you some other places I'd put those too. Tea-dyed. Another fun cluster here. This is a bigger bag, and I have a card in it. And then this was another one of those tags from Mary, and I just cut the tag part off. And this was in my stash. and it was like, it had a blank space here to stamp something, and I was gonna stamp it, and then I just liked the accent of this sideways. I was gonna put it in the middle, and then I like this. It's very cute. And then there's actually a pocket right there too. I just don't have anything in it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I had to have a bird. So Becky rescues birds, marine birds. And so I had to have a bird in here, and then I have a little walking in a winter wonderland. This is a piece of paper with the holly on it, and then I've layered on top of it and put this little envelope too. And then I have this vintage postcard with the girls around the tree and just a splash of blue for her. And then my sheet music from when I was little, and more tea-dyed. And on these pages, I think this would be really cool to write on with like a silver or gold pen. I didn't test it, but I think like my silver Uniball would probably write on this page and be gorgeous. And then this page, you could decorate or doodle around these. You could journal right through here, woven around. I probably wouldn't journal on this, but there's no reason you couldn't just take a fine pen and do it. This page is a little rowdy. I might knock it down a little. And I have some stuff in here. I have 5 or 6 journaling cards, some of which I think might go on the front, but then there will be a bunch of extras, and then a couple of these. So you could do a pocket right here, just glue this down, or you could take this and add some more stuff and make that a pocket. These I just think are adorable. I didn't glue them in. These were from Mary in the stuff that she gave me too. And I was just thinking, how cute would that be? Especially for someone that likes birds. And they're very sturdy because they're old cards recycled. And this one kind of goes with like this vintage theme. So I have those in here for her. And then I have a couple of these too. These could be, they're not to write on the back, but she could write a little bit right here, or she could use them as pockets, or she could like tear them up and use them as a layer in an ephemera cluster. Whatever makes her happy. So again here, you could come in with something like this. Oh, and then back here we have postage stamps. So there's postage stamps to pull out and work with if you wanted to layer here and have a different cluster. So there's different stuff tucked in here. And I have the sled stamped right here. I love that one. And here, this is kind of what I was thinking. I'm just grabbing different numbers. I don't know if they're the right numbers at all. One of these could go on here, and then here's your journaling card, and I've layered something on it. And again, if you're going through and you say, oh, this page shouldn't have had green, well, now it doesn't. Here I have some tree branches and some cones, and I put some more in the extra pack, and then a Christmas sticker and one of these vintage cards here. I might layer some tea-dyed paper over this or some solid color and then use it to journal inside. But you could also take a silver or gold pen and write on the back, or probably just a black pen would be fine too. Then here, these are little clusters that Bonnie got me hooked on. Bonnie and Clive, she got me hooked on making. So I think there's 2 different sizes of them in here. And they're pockets. Let me show you. 2 different ways. So here's a pocket, and then here's a pocket right here. And, well, 3, and then here's a pocket. And this one I've stitched around and inked it with just a tea dye, I think, color. So super cute. And then I stamped the little bell down there. Sheet music, we're going the other way. This one, just a journaling card with a little bit, cutesy dress. Maybe not quite vintage enough for this, but if there's something like that in a journal that you don't like, you can always, I'm digging through my box over here. I need something a little vertical. Here. You could take this guy, trim him down a little, glue him right over it, right? And then just a journaling card back there. This is something that you tip up. You could tip up and put paper right there and write, or you could tip it down and attach something right here so that it hangs down and then the whole thing lifts up. All kinds of options. This just folds out for a fun surprise, so not all the pieces are the same size. And then here we have a couple of different cards and envelopes. And again, I would decorate this pocket, but I left a lot of options. So this one, we had to have a little joy in here, didn't we? So we've got some joy. And then these are all vintage Christmas stamps. I mean, I think probably at least 30 or 40 years old. 8 cents, 8 cents, 10 cents. These are back-aways. Somehow, not only at Christmas, but all the year through, the joy that you give to others is the joy that comes back to you. One of my personal stamp exchange favorites. And then this one, this was in a video earlier in this series. It was the end of a bag that I had cut off. I probably used the bag as a pocket in some other journal. So it's probably from Honeybee Stamps. They have cute bags. It's just a paper bag, and that's how big it was. That's the exact shape it was. I did trim the edge to straighten it, and then this thing fit in it perfectly. So I thought, oh, that'll be adorable in the back. And then I put a bird over it and just another little piece of ephemera to add some jazz. So that's what the inside looks like. Now let's talk about the front, and then we have this whole pile of stuff to play with too. Okay, I was trying to figure out a shaker for the front. I don't know if I got it right, so I'm not going to glue it on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it separate. Becky sews way better than I do. She could make her own shaker. She could change it up. But let me show you what I did. I trimmed this a little tiny bit. This was a cut apart from this collection, and I added some gold and silver specks to the tree, and then I took a gold Sharpie, just my big fatty sitting here somewhere, and went around right here and right here to add a little more interest. Then I trimmed it down. Well, actually, then I rounded the corners, inked the edges, then I trimmed it down and rounded the corners and inked the edges, because I wanted to be sure that I could offer a layer. So what I did was I made it smaller than the other cut aparts. So she could mat it with this red. She could mat it with this wood. There's a little bit of wood on these ornaments. She could also use something like this with another paper around it. Winter is the season of recovery and preparation. This is kind of neat, but the dress is more burgundy or wine. I think more wine than I'd like it to be to put it on the cover. There's also this one, which again, you could cut it down, make it a shaker, and put it over one of these if you wanted a background layer. And then if this doesn't go on this journal, it can go on a card, it could go on anything. There's also this, which is not the exact same paper, but almost. I like more contrast, but it is kind of fun to have similar patterns and different scales. It just doesn't pop very well. Even if you inked the edges, it probably wouldn't. So those are my ideas for the front. I also very often leave the fronts plain. They go in and out of purses and shelves and all that kind of thing better. So that's another idea. And like I said, I'm just going to put all this stuff in there, and I hope that Becky has a great time and that I didn't over decorate it, because I wanted to leave lots of places for her to work with for December daily. Oh, I have a little bit of this. I didn't have lace that I loved. I had cream colored crazy trims and then yellow lace. I just couldn't find the lace that I wanted to use. A little bit of thread, which is funny. I'm sure Becky has mountains of thread. And here's another little cute ephemera that came from Mary. And then there's like one other little kind of postage stamp looking thing in here. So that's what I have going. And I'm going to get this video out so Becky can see if she likes that journal and if I should get it on its way to her. And then I got a question. My apologies. I should have looked up your name. But somebody said they were down to scraps of Christmas paper and they wish they had made a journal because now they don't have enough. And let's talk about that for a minute. So I'll try and do this without a bunch of editing, or at least it'll be at the end. Okay, here's an envelope. It could be an envelope like this. It could be a big piece of paper. or it could be wrapping paper, it could be scrapbook paper, it could be anything. What I would do is I would take all your scraps that you have and I would lay them out. If you have a skimpy amount of scraps, then get into your stash of solid cardstock or maybe metallic scraps and mix some of those in. And I would make a scrappy cover. Either, if you haven't seen my scrap cards before, you might want to check out one of those videos. You can ask me and I'll help you find one if I forget. Or I'll try and put one in the description here. So you could lay them out like that. Or you could do something like Mary did here, where she laid them next to each other and she sewed. I think this is actually paper bag that she's layered on. But if you didn't have quite enough of the Christmas papers, you could mix in brown paper bag or red papers or green papers, something like that. There's all kinds of ways to make scrappy covers. And then on the inside, you could use white paper or tea-dyed paper or notebook paper or papers from your stash that maybe they aren't that Christmassy, sheet music, dictionary pages, whatever you have. But then you could come in with things like this and put a pocket on the page, and then it is Christmassy. So that's what I was thinking. It could be strips, it could be chunks sewed together. You can still make a journal even though you're down to the bits. It can still be done. Okay? I hope that gives you some ideas. And I have a lot of different videos about making journals and making journal covers. I don't think I've ever done a scrap cover because, well, I have a lot of things that I want to make journal covers out of, so I haven't gotten that far. But I am totally inspired by this. See, I still need to make a journal out of this. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving. If you're here in the US, that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and everywhere else, a great end of your weekend. As long as I'm feeling okay, I'm going to be back with a tidy up video, and then I'm going to shift into winter and pull out the Christmas wishes or winter wishes that won for the small pad challenge. So that's what I have on my brain. But first, I might just sit down and watch a movie. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.